All right. Hello, everybody. I'm checking various levels and stuff, but we are here. We are live, and we are, to the best of my ability to discern, largely not dead. Welcome aboard to another episode of our Unfinished Community kind of video conversation series, which we have begrudgingly called Uncertain Times. Uh, Today's episode I've entitled simply To the Angry Dome, because unlike in previous weeks, I haven't really picked out one specific thing to talk about since we actually just went last week in kind of a special episode, which if you haven't checked that out, please do. After well, I'm going to go ahead and say assassination of Renee Good over in Minnesota, which was something we really need to speak to
Now, to
fairly urgently.
assassinate some, if you're assassinated, that means you were a public figure of some kind. This was just a woman living her fucking life. But
Yeah,
she was
well,
gay while doing it, so it's good, right?
the only thing good about this was her last name. That's about as far as I'm willing to go with that. But yeah, no, we are here in the aftermath now of what has been a hellish period in American history. And I've got some news articles queued up that we can talk about, and we'll load them up and talk about it in a minute. But like, I think the general emotional sense for me and for a lot of people in the community is just basically like, oh, holy shit, man, there's more. Like, the hits keep coming and they don't stop 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 coming. And like that AI version of Smash Mouth, they just don't stop coming. It's just like, what the fuck, man? So I am joined
Yep.
with joined today, of course, by the extraordinarily purple but no less wonderful Courtney Fraley.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm
oh,
not down for bright lights right now.
yeah, all totally fair. No argument there. I was just loving the color consistency. Um, so yeah, where do we even begin with this shit? Right?
Yeah, I don't freaking know anymore, man. I really don't know anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Like, like this is not a topic for the show, but like both of our lives have it completely independently of one another completely collapsed into like the most putrid messes, and
yeah. But as I recently told
the
someone
whole
in the
world is
middle,
on fire. Fuck, there's a fucking Iranian revolution going on, and I don't even have the headspace to dig through and try and make some kind of sense of, like anything to say about that. Like
yeah.
I don't.
And that's the thing is, um, it's a lot. It is. And as I recently told to someone else in the middle of my own, putrid swamp mess of a situation, um, it's okay for things to be a mess for a little while, and that doesn't necessarily mean they can't be cleaned up. That doesn't mean there isn't hope. But one of the things, and this is going to run counter to literally everything we're doing here on this program, but one of the things I do want to caution people of too is overburdening yourself mentally and emotionally with the horrors of the world. You mentioned what's going on in Iran, and there's stuff going on in the United States, obviously everywhere in the United States
There's
right
still a
now.
genocide going on in Palestine too. We just
Yep, that never
took a
stopped. Um,
couple fucking war
yeah.
criminals word that yeah, no, everything's good
And it
now.
was a
Yay,
and it was a
look, we think
footnote in the
out in
news
the
the
Middle
other day.
East.
Well, yeah, it was a footnote in the news the other day while I was reading it that Kyiv was being bombed. Like Ukraine's still happening. We hadn't got over that genocide yet either. And like
I mean, that's more of a like war, like a regular war, but
yeah. So, but my point is like nobody has the mental bandwidth to hold all of that compassionately or kindly. And people like you and I, we tend to burn ourselves out a lot. I would argue good people in general um tend to burn themselves out because they try to hold all of the compassion for all of those things at once. And when they can't, you feel like a horrible person because you just can't care about that much at once. Um, which frankly, is the point of the full court press that Trump and folk are doing, is because the only way to defeat unified compassion is by overloading it.
Why are you gonna say full court press like you know anything about sports, man?
Look, I have been used as a ball in many prestigious sporting events.
You cannot tell me someone dunked you.
I can definitely tell you a handful of people tried.
I mean, I've been dunked in a trash can, but not a basketball hoop. And I was a
Yeah.
teensy person too, so
Basketball hoops at my high school were the ones that could do the kind of giraffe bend. And so if you could do that and you could grab the fat guy with enough people, you could make a go of it. Bullies are creative folk, as is evidenced by the current goings on in the United States.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So,
really hard for me to try and teach my daughter that like no, you have to be honest and tell the truth. You can't just say whatever seems like the most convenient thing to say right then. I said, and then I stopped myself and I'm like, and I'm not sure how to tell you that because, you know, all the most powerful people in the world right now, that's how they got there and that's how they live their lives.
mhm.
So,
One of the things I've done or tried to do at least differently than my own parents is my parents were really big on stressing the lesson that cheaters never prosper, bullies never win, which was a great lesson. Turned out not to be true. Um,
no, it's not really true.
yeah. And
You just want
truth truth be told, it wasn't really all that true back then either. So where
no,
I've
dude, we were in
pivoted,
the 80s. Never was there a time when cheaters prospered more.
yeah,
Like,
right. So what I've tried to approach is by teaching my children that, yeah, lying, cheating, bullying, it'll get you everywhere. It'll get you whatever you want, but only for you. And I point this out. I say, look at people like Musk and Trump and anyone else in their orbit. The higher they get, the more they find, the more success they acquire, the more people around them are like that, greedy, selfish, wanting only what you can get. That's not the type of attitude that allows you to connect to people, to be friends, to have family, to have relationships. And by the time you get up there, as they have, you've got everything you wanted, but you're alone in doing it.
this is all starting to feel like pro wrestling, though, where like you, and then I got to pivot and quote Spaceballs. Evil will always triumph because good is dumb. Like, okay, so what you're saying is, you know what? Yeah, doing the evil thing, like all the people with all the money and power in the world do it, and it's a self-perpetuating thing because the people around them will behave like that too. But they don't have real friends. They don't have the power of friendship. Like, you're too much my friend for me to be like, go fuck yourself, dude. But I'm very much like, I
It
don't.
is true. It is true. And the corollary to that, and what goes with it, is the fact that systems of power and privilege of that kind of intensity, particularly fascist systems and the things that are developing in the US, uh, they're too they're too rigid to endure. Historically, they don't last forever. They collapse,
I'm
and new
sorry.
ones
How long?
form.
I'm sorry. How long did the Roman Empire stick around?
A while, but it didn't stick around.
That's a moot point. Everything's ephemeral. Nothing lasts forever.
Yeah,
Right, you knew you were going to have combative Naki tonight, but like I did, this is I'm trying to at least be straightforward and honest. Like everything's ephemeral. Everything. To quote the doctor, everything has its time and everything dies. It's
you're
true.
right. You're right.
It
But
seems sad,
I,
but it's true. And if things don't die, there's not room for new things.
you're
So
right.
it has to be like that.
I think you had a good point. I think where we as a species suffer is that we're not very good at letting things die. And that I'm going to focus that particularly on institutions, nations, and things like that. Like the American nation ran its course a long time. It was a good idea. And
It's helped spin off a lot of other good ideas. Like there's a lot of successful democracies around the world at this point.
yeah, exactly. Problem is we held on to the idea that what it was is what it needed to be forever and ever, amen. And we wanted it to stay the same and never change, and we wanted it to just continue.
Why? Why
Exactly.
and how did that ever become anyone's mindset? My
Hmm.
God, like in freaking these people who trumpet on about the founding fathers and like the foundational documents of this country. Okay, read them. Read
Yeah.
what these guys wrote down to make a more perfect union. In other words, it's right in the chosen wording. Now, you can say a lot of things about Thomas Jefferson, and I can and I will. He was a racist and a rapist, but he was also a brilliant man when it came
Hmm.
to like social structures and words.
Yeah.
The fact that our founding fathers sat down and chose the words a more perfect union
Hmm. Right.
implies that like you have to keep changing it. They wrote down, okay, here's how we're going to run the country. Boom, here's this. And immediately started amending it.
Hmm. To
They did it.
to
They're fucking dot. The Bill of Rights is a big deal. That was done by people who also signed all the original documentation. Like they were editing their own document for Christ's sake. Literally for Christ's sake at this point. Please. Just let us
to
change. Please.
to quote a line from a Joe Pesci movie that's been dancing around my YouTube clips for some reason, it's been in my algorithm. I have no idea what fucking movie it is. But I recognize Joe Pesci fucking anywhere. He says the founding fathers knew one thing that all great men do, which is that they didn't know everything. Um, you know, Granted, the founding
Mm-hmm.
fathers were fucking monsters in a lot of respects, but there has been in our political discourse a belief that they are borderline deities and an approach to what you could call constitutional originalism or kind of founding fatherism, or whatever, an approach to that borders on the religious. And I would say goes well beyond it. And we could take a minute and explore what that has to do with the connection between state political interest and religion in the United States in the last 50 years. Because, oh boy, do I have things to say about that shit. But the idea that the founding fathers are to be worshipped and to be venerated, that the way the Constitution was laid down is the way it must be forever and ever, because it's a holy document, it's a sacred document, is, and I say this with the greatest of respect, honor, and veneration, complete and utter giant mounds of stinking Triceratops bullshit. The sort of thing that would make even Jeff Goldblum put his fucking rubber glove back on the pile and say, nah, Ellie Sattler, you can go do your own shit. I'm out. Like, it is absurd. So was
It
that too
is,
much?
but no, it's fine, and I appreciate the levity. If there's something to be said, it's annoying. It's incredibly annoying to force a smile out of somebody as stubborn as I am, but it is helpful sometimes. You'll never get me to admit that again, but now you've got it on YouTube, so you can reference it whenever you need
Thank,
to.
thank you, camera.
Along with the 7-minute compilation of me saying no, I'm not going to seminary, but that's holding
Can
true.
I set the
It's
compilation to
mental.
wacky sax? That's
Anyway,
all I care about. If I can set it to yakety sax, I'm good.
I can't hear you.
Oh, did you lose? Oh, hold on. Just a moment.
Lost your audio.
Yep.
Ah, nobody heard you. 'Tis not just me.
Ta-da! Da-da-da-da. Come on. Come on in. Wait for it. Should be able to hear me now. Good?
Yeah, no, okay. I was just to the point where I was like, should I do a dance?
Yeah. No, that was me. I had intelligently forgotten to charge the battery pack for the microphone and just kind of plugged it in and figured, it'll be fine. It was, in fact, reader, not fine. Um, but
Morgan
fortune,
Freeman's voice. It's not fine.
it was not fine. And in fact, it died. No, that's why the church microphone pack here has two microphones in it. Normally just for me and W Sensei, but for moments like these as well.
Hey, wait, just
Anyway,
checking.
yeah. All
Just
I was saying is that if we're gonna have a compilation of you saying no to seminary, I absolutely have to set it to yakety sax, and that is just without question.
nice.
Okay, continue.
I don't know. I can't, you know, I can't hold I can hold a thought in my hands as well as I can hold a quarter cup of water. Like,
Yeah. All right. So
there's gonna be something left, but
yeah. All right. So well, then I guess let's talk about the news. I'm gonna go ahead and bring at least one thing up. Because hey, it wouldn't be us if I didn't bring some brand new hellish horror today, right?
I mean, last time didn't you get to like you got to reveal something horrific to me on air? Oh God, no, that wasn't last time. It was a couple of times ago, I think, where
Which one?
we got my live reaction to the plaques.
Oh God, yeah, that one was fun. That was fun. Not gonna lie, had a little bit of a perverse enjoyment in that one.
Well, that was at least something that's like fun. Like again, where does it land on the Zaphod Beeblebrox index?
Yeah,
Is like everything he does is insane. Sometimes it's an entertaining and at least relatively harmless insane like that. That's like some crazy dictator shit, but at the
yeah,
same time, it's not actually harming anyone. And the absurdity level is very high. Again, the Zaphod Beeblebrox quotient. Like, where where does it land?
yeah. So,
I hope I'm at liberty to say that my husband's favorite single thing to come out of the Trump administration is a picture of him from his first term behind the wheel of a great big truck, like leaned forward, hollering and looking for all the world like a 7-year-old who's behind the wheel of a real big rig for the first time.
mhm.
It's an actual moment of beauty somehow.
I have often enjoyed that picture myself, so I can definitely understand that. Feel that one in my own heart. So I'm going to bring this one up here. I don't think this will be much of a surprise for anyone. It's something we've already talked about already. It's coming up on screen right now. But I'm going to read
Not
actually into the article a little bit here because the intensity of what's in the article caught me flat-footed. And the article, which of course I know, Courtney, you can't see, is from BBC News. It reads, Denmark warns of fundamental disagreement after White House talks on Greenland. Um, okay, it's to be surprised, not to be surprising, but I'm going to go ahead and read the first two paragraphs here, which should be up on the screen. Yeah, okay.
we're doing conquistador shit.
Well, hold that thought. Denmark's foreign minister has said there is a fundamental disagreement with the U.S. over Greenland after talks at the White House. Lars Løkke Rasmussen said the meeting with Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Wednesday had been frank but constructive. But he added that U.S. President Trump was insisting on conquering Greenland, which was totally unacceptable. So, yeah, you really hit the nail on the head with that shit. He's
Oh,
not half-assing it anymore.
oh, Alexa, this is so sad. Play Conquistador.
Oh, thank God I have my earbuds on right now. I have an Alexa right next to me. Um, yeah,
She need
so
clarification, and I don't know the artist off the top of my head.
yeah, but so we're not even pretending anymore. He is in fact going full conquistador, and fucking why?
Because there's a whole lot of rare earth minerals, and oil and unspoiled wilderness. And it's a massive piece of land, which makes his top score bigger, which, one of his top scores that he's going for is biggest land, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's in a, you know, just the tip dick measuring contest with Putin. So
Hmm. Where it gets interesting is that a lot of Europe have already.
we can't tolerate it to flash back to last week about Venezuela, amid the our people being gunned down in the streets. How is this a podcast that I'm co-hosting at this point? And how does it have like 12 listeners too? It's because everybody's so hideously overstimulated. Imagine capturing the show that we do and taking it back a decade, exactly like a decade, and just here you go.
Hey, that's the most Christian church thing we could be, a decade behind the times online.
What do you mean?
No, you said this show would be super amazing that he went 10 years ago. Like, yeah, you're right. I wish we'd been doing this kind of content 10 years ago. But I'm
Mm.
also like, I'm glad there wasn't this kind of content to make 10 years ago. So it's,
No,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the actual facts of what I'm saying. Like,
Oh,
imagine going back to 2016 and just standing on the street corner and saying, like, next to a fucking TARDIS and being like, I'm here from the future. If you keep on the track that you're on, in my day, uh, just masked people marked as ice are like rounding up people and throwing them in makeshift camps and throwing them out of the country and killing them. And this is all completely state sanctioned, and the whole world knows it. And we've just openly bombed Venezuela for their oil and are trying to invade Greenland. Like, the level of insanity. Like, I've been pretty pessimistic about this. Like, I knew we were in some deep. The moment I knew we were in some deep shit was when he said he could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and not lose a single voter, and he didn't. And I'm like, oh no. That's when I knew I didn't know we were in this deep though. And I feel like you could drop this knowledge on people in the past, and like it would be so incomprehensible. That's more what I'm getting at.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I feel a little bit torn on this because you know, I have gotten some shit, particularly from colleagues of mine in ministry, for being over the top and alarmist about this political crap for years. Um, and that's something I've
Well,
wrestled with even recently
well,
because it's been brought up to me even recently by colleagues in ministry that I am too brash, too bold, talking about too much of this stuff when I should be focusing on, not alienating people, yada yada yada. Um,
if I might be the white centrist for a moment, don't you think that your alienating language only encourages the behavior you wish to stop,
mhm.
which is fucking hilarious?
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Um, so my first question when people ask me that, I usually try to be a bit more diplomatic, but I pretty much go along these lines. The first question I have is what, and the second is a corollary to that is the unbiblical fuck. Um, like really, the reason I have two thoughts about the
there's
whole
a
going back to
t-shirt, by the way. What the
yeah,
unbiblical fuck?
yeah. So
Somebody, yeah.
add it to the list of shit we said on this and or adjacent programs that should be made into t-shirts. God, if we actually did that, we'd have a chicken merch store.
Yeah,
um,
I'm writing them down. I'm doing it now. Go ahead.
um, the other reason I'm on two sides about the going back in time kind of hypothetical you gave there is because um, I don't know that presenting the facts of what was going to happen accomplished anything. Like
Oh, I don't
I
think it would
have,
change. I'm just saying it would be mind blowing, and no, just no one would believe you. You know.
I have had the I've had the unfortunate experience, as is my role in kind of the prophetic sense of being the pastor who talks about what power is doing and speaking truth to power and kind of calling power out on its bullshit, which means that I can kind of start pointing like, yeah, you do this is the way things are going, because being a preacher in that sense, you have to be a student of history and you kind of know how things tend to go. So, you know, I've kind of had a bit of, shall we say, Odinitis over in recent years of being the guy who's saying, this is what's going to happen. Y'all are morons if you don't think it's going to happen. This is definitely going to happen. And having everyone saying, No, no. What kind of stupid person thinks that kind of overblown explosive rhetoric is going to happen, only for the exact same thing to happen 3 weeks later to cheers and applause? Like,
I I don't understand the reference of Odinitis.
Odin, guy with one eye, could see future, but nobody
Yeah.
really believed him. Could see Ragnarok coming, but couldn't do a damn thing to stop it.
Could see it coming and but couldn't stop it is one
Yeah,
thing. I was going to say if you're talking could see things coming but nobody believed them. I believe you're thinking Cassandra.
yeah. It's kind of a little bit of both, really.
You're-
I tend to think more Odin because it's constantly apocalyptic. Um,
Mm. Oh yeah, the specific not being able to stop the end coming. Yeah,
yeah,
that's more
that's
accurate. To that.
kind of where I've been at with it. But like either would be applicable. I just couldn't remember I couldn't remember if it was Cassandra or Persephone because my Greek mythology is not quite as solid. Um,
No, no, no. Persephone is the like pastel goth queen.
yeah. Anyway, like so there's that piece of it too, but also like I have never been a big fan of New Year's resolutions per se, but arriving in this new year, I have taken note of the fact that I have in recent years been a little bit soft pedaling um my desire to tell people to go fuck themselves over this shit. Um, and I am discovering in the wake of a number of things going wrong personally and sociologically and just in the whole fucking world, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm I am confident in who I am. I'm confident in who God is, and I am confident that none of this shit's okay. And I think that, and I've always thought that we do a disservice to the good that we are meant to do when we try to soft pedal that good because we're worried we might hurt other people's feelings or we might catch some hands ourselves. Look, and you're getting the unique experience of me kind of working this out mentally while I'm explaining it. Um, but I kind of come into this with the feeling of like, look, I'm a minister of the Word and Sacrament, duly ordained in the Reformed Church of America, under the classes of New Brunswick. My who I am and who I'm amenable to is not unknown, and I have on occasion pissed off my superiors by being loudmouth, sweary, and more than a little bit intense. Um, I don't care. I think
That goes
there.
to the litany of the no, don't send me to cemetery. It would be exactly in your shoes. I would make so many people mad, and I'm too cowardly for that shit, man. Here's the thing, like you're talking about being confident in who you are and in you know knowing what you know, and I am confident in reality. um, but I am so fundamentally just I can't. I
Yeah,
can't. I could never do what you do.
and my position on it is
If I actually get confronted by like an angry person, like my freaking fight, flight, or freeze kicks in, and I can't. Like I am not like do not accost me in public and expect like a anything other than a blue screen response from me.
well,
Like
I've
I
had
can't take
so
that.
much. I've had so much
I've had it happen.
confrontation lately, uh, in my life in general, but particularly of late, and I've come to realize it doesn't bother me as much anymore. I've kind of become numb to it, and I look at
You
the world around me,
know.
and I realize that a lot of this confrontation exists to enforce societal comfort and to resist societal change, which is bullshit, especially when the society looks the way it does now. Uncomfortable loudmouths aren't necessary in times of peace outside of comedy and a few niche venues We are not in a time of peace anymore, and uncomfortable loudmouths are meant to be leading the charge of the light brigades up and down the boulevards. And while I don't exactly have boulevard access from where I'm at, I can definitely scream down the tubes of you here, and you know, that's what I'm going to do. Like, I'm going to use the platform that I have, and I'm going to keep screaming about this shit because this is absolutely unacceptable. It shouldn't. And when I say unacceptable, I don't mean that it is unacceptable to me. I mean that any person who has at any point encountered and believed in the word of the Lord Jesus Christ should look at the things that are happening and vomit with disgust. And if you are not actively doing that, or at least feeling like you ought to, then repentance is called for. And I mean that word when I say it, because like I know the evangelicals throw that shit around like it's goddamn candy, but that word means to fucking change your course because you're in the wrong place. If you look at what's going on in the world and you call yourself a follower of Christ Jesus and you are not vomitously discombobulated by what you are seeing, if it does not make you almost physically ill, if the discrepancy between what you are seeing and what is good and right and true does not give you of a kind of dizziness, a form of like vertigo, just from the difference between reality as it is and reality as it ought to be, then you never understood Jesus, and that's a problem. Like with a capital fucking P. And I'm here to tell that. And I'm not going to pretend it's not a problem. And I don't care if you are, any old regular person who thinks they know their Bible and thinks that Jesus is okay with any old person getting rounded up by ICE and disappeared in unmarked vans. Or if you are a pastor who looked at someone getting shot 3 times in the face for looking at a nice person wrong and thinks that that's a political issue. I don't care who you are. I do not care. If you are okay with that, you have a Jesus problem and repentance is required. And I'm not going to pretend otherwise anymore. Sorry, was that too much? And
No,
do
no,
more.
that was well needed. That was actually bracing. Thank you. That was you doing the Lord's work. I felt braced by that actually. Like, all right.
I got more. I got a lot of feelings on these issues these days, and I'm just done. And I'm,
Pontificate for a minute. Go
you
for
know,
it, man.
I say this to
I
folks here in the
put my
community. I'm
mouth off
still,
whatever I feel. Go for it.
I'll say this here for folks in the community. I'm still digging myself out from under a truly epic workload. So it's going to be a while before the fruits of this shit start showing up church wise. But we are going to start doing some fucking shit here, in as much as we are able. And if you are by some means listening to this and you want to join in helping us to find ways to just defiantly do some shit, even if it means gathering together in the same void and screaming loud enough to crack it like Majin Buu in the time chamber. Dragon Ball reference. I didn't do a Star Trek one this time. Um,
Try and accomplish something that you would be proud as shit to read about your grandparents doing.
yeah, like I ain't
Just
playing anymore.
something.
Yeah, this is my throwing down the gauntlet, as you will, to those of you who are in the community and those of you who might be watching and aren't. Um, we're already going to wind up in a history book or two just because of how fucking weird this church is and how experimental it is. So we're going to start racking up how many history books we can get into, and we're going to fucking do something with this. Even if it's just the amount of times your pastor says fuck on YouTube, we're going to be doing stuff. And by the way, thank you. Thank you, Erica, there in the chat, for saying, hey, mention we need help with social media. Like, yes, yes, we do need help with
Oh God,
social
yeah,
media.
no, I mean,
Oh,
what do
God,
we
we
have
do.
watchers right now? How many people are
Well,
watching right now?
I got 3 or 4 in and out. Nothing major today. Um,
Yeah, there
but
you go.
yeah, so we definitely do need help. And that's a thing we are talking about. But yeah, like we're gonna wind up in some history books here, and you know what? We are going to use the hell out of those history books, and I intend to, whether this church survives or doesn't survive, I intend it to. If it were going to be a footnote, we are going to make such a footnote.
This to be
That's
worthy of remembering in song.
See, I knew you'd catch it. I knew you'd catch it. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I need to be rocking that more. My husband got me something really special for Christmas. That's relevant here. God damn it. Okay, there we go.
Ooh. I got one of those laying around here too. I got one of those for each of my kids last Christmas. No, the Lorien leaves.
Yeah,
Yeah, those are nice.
yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
a lot of really uh, I'll say this. Thank you God for Tolkien, and I know Tolkien was really a devout Christian, and for by all accounts, like seemingly a pretty decent guy. Um, but the stuff that he wrote has helped me survive thus far more than once, many many times. Has helped
Hmm.
me survive and pick myself back up. And to see pieces of Tolkien that have been just quotes from Lord of the Rings mostly, that have been keeping me alive for the last decade, being just now all of a sudden circulated around as like, hey, this might help you right now.
Yeah. And I
um
mean, like, if
it's a
you,
thing. I'm not I
I'm,
got a lot of feelings about it. I'm not sure how to pick one.
I'm not going to dismiss Tolkien's genius by any means. But let's not forget that Tolkien was in dialogue with Lewis for his entire life, just about. And if you are a fan of what Seven of Nine Tertiary Adjunct of Unimatrix Zero One once described as the poetic drive-by, um, I'm referencing a line from Star Trek Picard season three, which I just happened to watch last night with the kids, but gotta give you a good setup. But
Just get
if you're a fan of the good poetic drive-by, the two of them exchanged them constantly, and whereas Tolkien used them sparingly, C.S. Lewis used them like they were machine guns in the hand of L.A. gangs in the '90s. Like, you know, he threw him out everywhere. The man was nothing if not a font of pithy religious one-liners that were actually really fucking good. So if that is a thing that gives you blessing, dive into some of Lewis's work. You'll find a shitload of them there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, C.S. Lewis, another, a famous Christian,
Hmm.
someone else who was super, super dedicated to what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
creative work can be really important for inspiration in times like this, and I think it's one of the reasons that God gave us the creative minds that we have as a species.
Yeah. I would
Um,
tend to agree. And
is
you know,
anybody getting angry? I'm not saying science wasn't involved. I find science to be a sort of eldritch poetry in an attempt to describe the majesty of creation. I think they go hand in hand to me. I respect the hell out of science.
I'll just
But
boil it down like we did in the early days of Back to Basics. Religion describes what happens, science describes how. They're not the same thing.
mhm.
Like they're just
Yeah,
different
we're
languages
talking
for, yeah.
yeah.
But I will say, particularly when it comes to creative stuff, yeah, creative stuff is not just important. I actually had this conversation with my own thesis advisors as I was describing how I was laying out the research for the thesis I'm working on.
Mhm.
And they were wondering why, if I was doing something on prophetic preaching, I had a whole like subsection on liberation theology. Like, if you're talking about preaching, what? Well, no. Like, their concerns were not content based; they were logistical. Like, if you're doing homiletics, why do you have this whole subset on theology? And I said, it's very simple. You need to be able to describe the world you're trying to make with the preaching. And that's really what creative work is for the real world outside of theology. It's a way for us to envision and describe the world we're trying to make with all the other shit we're doing. Like all of the beauty we create, all of the art we do, all the music we make are reflections of the world we wish was here. And so, like, that all serves a wonderful purpose. We draft these wonderful fantasy novels because there's aspects of that that we wish were real. We make music because it's the songs our hearts make at peace, and we wish there was more of that. Like, we lament for things, we cry for things, we need for things, and we're describing with all of our creative endeavors a world that doesn't exist. And everything else about the human existence and about the human intentionality adds yet on the end of that sentence. Yeah, creativity is important. Uh, because without it,
Words and concepts and opening your mind to different ideas is important, and but at the same time weighing ideas that enter your mind it on a meaningful moral scale, I feel is really important. And um
no one invents the automobile if they don't have somewhere they want to go.
there you go.
So we've gotten ourselves a solid hour on this. I could bring up other news articles, but I don't think we need to. I think we've kind of hit the nail on the head with this one.
Well,
You?
we've mostly hit the nail on the head, but honestly, with the speed that the news cycle moves at, I feel like if you've got a handful of other news articles, how about we try and take maybe 5 to 10 minutes here and speed run them?
Oh, let me see what I've still got. All right.
We're a
Uh,
podcast. Let's behave like it.
all right. Let's
Theoretically
switch.
speaking, I'm a D-list podcaster. Woo!
All right.
D-list YouTuber, whatever.
From the Associated Press. Live updates. Senate rejects Venezuela war powers resolution as two Republicans flip. Are you familiar with this?
What specific? What were they attempting to resolve? Was it war powers being requested from Congress, like after the fact?
Um, let's see. I'm bringing it up here to make sure. Let's see. Basically, where is it? Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer said Wednesday that Republicans abdicated their responsibility after they voted to dismiss a war powers resolution that would have given Congress a say on Trump's future military actions in Venezuela. Basically, the
What?
Democrats introduced a
They shouldn't
resolution
have
that
to
would.
motion for that. It's in the fucking Constitution.
There's the angry dome. That was the one that I knew was going to bring some angry here because, yeah, like they were introducing a resolution to basically limit his war powers, which right away, like before
I
I even
can
get to
make
the
a
fact,
colonial outfit good enough to sustain myself through a Michigan winter. I am
yeah,
dreadfully close
yeah,
to busting out my
before,
scroll, just yelling out front of the GOP
mm,
headquarters.
yeah, before I even before I even get to just how infuriating it is that Republicans would publicly shoot something like that down, because of course they fucking would. Where the hell does Chuck Schumer get off trying to introduce a resolution to restrict powers the president doesn't goddamn have? Like, I mean, the minute he attacked a sovereign nation without provocation or the consent of Congress,
It should
like,
have been impeachment at that point,
the
right?
Capitol Police should have had him in handcuffs. Like, I mean,
Oh my god. Right. We are so far beyond the pale on this. Like I sit and stare into space sometimes and just realize I'm like ICE shouldn't be shooting anyone, even legal immigrants. It's not part of their job.
yeah,
It's not part of their job at all. They're immigrations and customs enforcement. That's what ICE stands for.
they
They're supposed
shouldn't
to,
have guns in the first place.
I don't agree with like our draconian immigration policies anyway. Okay,
Yeah.
you can't fuck up Latin America for
Mm,
decades, a century, and
mm,
then be mad when some people from there come to your country looking for a better life. You don't get to
yeah.
do that. especially if they're the backbone of your produce
Now
economy and
I'm going to
things.
diverge slightly from the topic for a moment because you bounced slightly on something that I was talking about with my wife earlier. Because we were talking about, police officers shooting someone in the face. Um, and I had connected that with a line from something that Christy Nome had said, um, which was basically, and I made a Facebook post on this fairly recently about the whole, you know, one of ours,
One of
all of
all
yours thing,
yours.
which
Yep.
is a
Yeah. It's
whole level of deep fried Nazi hell. But
it's straight
um,
up not bullshit. It's to the same level of like just anytime you see is uh I almost said Simon Miller. That's mean. He's a wonderful person. Hi Simon. Um but no, that fucking
Stephen Miller,
bald sniveling Nazi, Stephen Miller. God,
yes,
everything that comes out of his mouth, I'm like, how does everyone not see a Nazi? He's right there. He's not even hiding it like at all.
yeah. Like, I mean, what does he need? A goose step and a mustache? Is that the only criteria y'all have? But no, like,
For some,
I
yes.
was looking at that, and there was a line in that whole conference thing where she talked about, like, if a member of our law enforcement community is afraid for their lives, then we have their back. And I stopped for a minute. I'm like, okay, um, what is the job of a law enforcement officer in any context, notwithstanding that that's not what fucking ICE is. Um, Setting that aside, a law enforcement officer's job is to professionally feel unsafe. Like they are putting themselves into the danger by choice.
They're trained to
Uh,
feel unsafe too.
yeah, not, well, let's leave that piece out of it for a minute. The fact that the training makes them feel a million times more unsafe and aggravates them, and then you pump up with steroids, give them a gun, and say, "Have fun with the brown folk." Um, you know, set all that aside. Like the job of a peace officer is to potentially put themselves in dangerous situations for the safety of everyone. Now, if the appropriate response to feeling unsafe is public execution, and your job is feeling unsafe, then you are not a peace officer, you're an executioner with extra steps.
You're an executioner looking for a target.
Yeah. And that's
And the more that you try to not be that thing, the more that you get like drummed out of the system. Like
exactly.
it's
And
not
that's,
it's not hard at this point at this in this
yeah,
day and age now to find I mean I my favorite is to cite a pro wrestler who I rather admire. I'm not sure how what he's wrestling under now, but Mustafa Ali. Um, uh, there are people who genuinely want to try and like be what middle school white America's concept of a police officer is. And like to the point where they go through all of it and become an officer, and man, you will get a desk job with no power and get told to shut up and quit finding ways to use that position to do justice and stuff like that. Like if you try and be a good cop, like the system runs them out. And if you're designing a system to train people explicitly, because Don's right, it all leads in the same direction, but at the same time these guys do actually train. What maybe we can link the Behind the Bastards episode that gives the full details on this, but there's like a dude who is largely responsible for training
yeah,
America's cops to be afraid 24/7. If they're that afraid, they have to have a target, like a default target, or else nobody's safe.
yeah.
So you make it okay. Well, the
Mhm.
safest people is go for the white people, the people in charge, yeah, the safest people, and then everybody beyond that, they're more sketchy. So at least it's not just like a full blown constant fucking rampage because you're terrified that everyone around you is out to kill you.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, we've created a monster.
Yeah. And the point I made in the Facebook post I was referencing too is, you know, I've seen people since the death of Renee Good talk about things like, usually almost exclusively, I'll say, older white folk. talk about, well, how can we live in a world where the authorities of the government can just murder us for no reason? And I've had to point out to a few people already that, like, this may be a new reality for you, but it hasn't been a new reality for everybody. There's been, black and brown and immigrant neighbors of ours that have been dealing with this for a long time, a
I'm lucky
long,
to
long
be out
time. And what
of
I really want us to understand here is that what we're witnessing is not an escalation of the violence of the government against the people. It's more an expansion of who they're comfortable administering that violence to.
Yep.
Um, and that is, I think, fundamental to understanding the situation here and understanding why those of us on the left side of things tend to get so bent out of shape about this shit is because uh
Because it's
a
literally
lot of,
life or death. And if you actually love America, it is like
yeah,
the
it's more,
antithesis of
yeah,
what
well, it's more like,
what we think we're about.
yeah, it's more like, for me, this shit ain't new. Like, the expanded level of it is definitely new, but this never would have gotten as big as it is. We wouldn't all be under threat if we had taken care of the people who were under threat 15, 20 years ago. If we had looked at our broken systems and said, all right, yeah, our siblings of color, our immigrant neighbors, they are really suffering under some broke ass systems. That's a real hole in our protection net for our American society. We better patch that shit now before it blows up and we all fall out. Well, guess what? It blew up and now we're all falling out. Like, you didn't fix the problem. We didn't fix it. We were all screaming about it. Not all of us, obviously. A lot of white folk weren't, but um, a lot of people were screaming about this and pointing out that, like, with Philando Castile, and I've since lost track of all of the names. Um,
Trayvon Martin.
yeah, that's one of them. Every time that came up, you were all like, this is an isolated incident. And everybody who knew screamed, no, it's not. It's a broken system. This will be a problem if we don't fix it. Defund these motherfuckers so that this doesn't become a bigger problem for everyone. And let's fix it before things get bad. Well, guess what? Things are now bad. Congratulations, white America. You win. How do you like your prize?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's
Um,
it's it's freaking maddening.
yeah. So, and I say that not to dismiss the hopeful side of it too, which is, all right, now you all know. The best time to know was 15 years ago, but the second best time to know is right fucking now. So now you know. Welcome aboard. You're all progressives now. Now you know it could be any one of us. What you gonna do about it? We're here, we're
It's
waiting.
okay. You're part of the rebellion
Yeah,
in Star Wars. Seriously. That's what
yeah,
that movie is about.
exactly.
Like
Congratulations, you're all Luke Skywalker, and grab a lightsaber and get the fuck to work.
Captain America would 100% have your back in this fight. It's okay. You're allowed to feel good about it.
Yeah, all right. Now let's go punch the evil empire in the tits and get going. All right.
Like, you don't even have to be left leaning. You don't have to be like a democratic socialist, which is
Mhm.
very, very centrist as far as like global politics is concerned.
Right.
Um, but you don't even you can be way to the right of that and still be and have a lot of opinions that I would wildly disagree with, and you can still look at this and see that something is very wrong. And it's okay if pieces from the past fall into place to help make that realization done. That's how it works for all of us. I don't think there's any one person who's
Mm.
not, except for the people, many people who we need to realize have had to live with this situation, have been taught about this situation as children by parents who had to teach this situation of racism in this country, like, to their kids, and police violence, and knowing that
Yeah.
that was something that you were going to have to be careful of and deal with, and that this happens, and that we have to try and stay calm about it. And like, what the fuck? I cannot imagine. Well,
Yeah,
don't have to now. Thanks.
yeah,
Thanks a lot. We
and
don't have to imagine now.
yeah.
Um,
Like, and I gotta admit, when I moved my family to Japan, one of the reasons was because I wanted to get away from a because I had the opportunity and things weren't quite as dire at the time. I had the opportunity and I wanted to get away from a situation of having to answer my kids asking me the question, are we safe? Are we going to be okay? And when Trump attacked Venezuela and we were all kind of sitting around watching the news coverage in horror, and my middle kid comes up to me and says, Dad, are we safe? Are we going to get nuked? Are we going to get attacked here? Are we okay here? And I realized that I fled to the other side of the fucking world to avoid the hell that my people were unleashing, and it still wasn't far enough. Like, there is no escaping the wrath and the
I
destructive
recognize you
force
using
of
the words
cruelty.
"my people" as a gigantic blue-eyed Dutchman.
I was referring to the United States in general, but
But no, I just it's owning it, and I try and do that
yeah.
too. I just recognizing
Hmm.
it.
No, trust me. As a large white blue-eyed Dutch man out here in in Japan, I am not seen as anything other than American. So I kind of can't avoid that.
Yeah,
But yeah. So that's where we are. Anything else we want to touch on, or shall we call it for today?
yeah. We were gonna try and run through some things, and then we both got touched off, and we got the angry end that was advertised in the
Yay,
title,
we made it to the Angry Dome.
instead of just the
Mildly morose
sadness,
dome.
the morose dome.
The morose dome, the antechamber of profound sadness.
Yeah,
The weepy
yeah. We're at
annex.
a lot of things at this point. The what?
The weeping annex.
Oh, that's sad. That's a real thing.
All right. So
It's a nice thing.
yeah. Those of you who've stuck with us thus far, thanks for hanging with us. This one wound up being a little bit long, but I'm okay with that. Please come join us in the community. We're trying to get the word out of this. Trying to really kind of grow our appearance. As you can see, we're a bit worn down, but we're getting back behind and trying to get things going again. So, if you want to come talk to us, come join us in the Discord community. But most importantly, as Courtney's sitting there just expectantly, I have to ask her to tell you to do the thing you must always do, which is
Like, share, and subscribe.
yes, please. That really does help. So if you could do that, it really will make our day.
Yeah,
But that being said, we've been with you
think
for
of some
almost an
things
hour
that
and a
make
half.
my day you can't say on YouTube.
Yeah, we say a lot of things you can't say on YouTube in the community, so you should come join us there. But that being said, we've been hanging out with you guys for an hour and a half. I'm going to wish you guys a wonderfully pleasant day, and we will see you on the next live stream, which will actually now be in 2 weeks because we're going to be doing our Bible study next week in the community finally. So come join us for that because we'll be studying the Bible, which is the thing churches do apparently. Just our news cycle has gotten away from us, and we've been doing so much current events. So come join us. We're going to study the Bible. It's kind of important, to us. All right. Take care, everybody.
Peace. Bye.